What is up, true believers? It's your friendly neighborhood webbed witness back at it again. Recently, a bigger YouTuber made a video about me, calling me a fake ex-atheist, and some of his followers flocked to my channel to basically accuse me of lying about being an atheist. And essentially their main point is, if I was a true atheist, then I would have stayed an atheist. I'm not going to say that this YouTuber is the reason I've gotten this accusation. I've gotten this accusation before, by just atheists in general. This video is not going to be like a direct response of this YouTuber's video about me, but more of just a general response to this accusation that I was never a true atheist. We're going to talk about that and why it makes zero sense. So starting off, I'll just say your ignorance is on full display when you accuse me of lying about being an atheist, because there is video proof of my atheism. And conveniently, Sir Sick leaves out the footage of me as an atheist, which I included in the original video that he's reacting to, while calling me a fake atheist at the same time, and he leaves out the footage that I included. So yes, the first few videos on my channel I made when I was an atheist. By that I mean I didn't believe in a higher power god. The closest we got to theism with my beliefs in those videos was believing that everybody is God in a way, that there's like a collective consciousness of sorts, and I got that belief from doing psychedelics. But ultimately, I didn't believe in a god. I didn't believe God was a personal being. I believed we were all God in a way. It was just semantics. I didn't believe in an objective God being. So if we want to get specific, it was like an atheist-leaning version of New Age spirituality, sort of, which I acquired that belief over time. I was a full atheist for a long time. That New Agey belief I had in those videos was more of a recent epiphany, and is the reason that I made those videos exposing Mormonism and exposing organized religion, because I believed I found the meaning of life. That authenticity was the real meaning of life. That was the whole point of those videos. That you don't need God, all you need is to be true to yourself. So with that being said, moving on, when you point the finger at me and accuse me of lying, first of all, I'm a Christian. I have no reason to lie. If I wanted to lie, I would delete all my early videos of when I was an atheist and make up an even crazier origin story than I already have. Like, if I cared about having a perfect image, I would delete those videos because I say some really ugly stuff in them. If I wanted to be dishonest, then I wouldn't have gone into the specifics, just barely, about my beliefs of that time period. Okay, I've been nothing but upfront about my beliefs and my struggles with life and religion, and just, if you've watched my channel, you've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. I have nothing to hide, dude. So when you call me dishonest, you're just making yourself look dumb. It just shows that you haven't actually watched any of my videos. And the thing is, when we actually look at this accusation for what it is, that you were never a true atheist, what does that even mean, dude? Does it mean if I ever questioned the existence of God at all, then I wasn't a true atheist? Of course, I eventually questioned if atheism was the truth. I didn't just throw my hands in the air and go, that's all, folks. I kept questioning and searching for meaning, whether that meaning came from myself or from a higher power or something else entirely. Okay, it was through this questioning that led me down the path of doing psychedelics. I went down this weird rabbit hole of like the pineal gland and DMT and like this new age stuff and like collective consciousness hippie stuff. Just looking for some kind of meaning or like explanation for consciousness. Does being a true atheist mean I just shut my brain off and I stop looking for answers? Like, is that what you guys are getting at? That if I was a true atheist, I would have remained one my entire life? Is that what you guys are getting at? Because that's wild. Because I kept looking, dude. I kept searching for answers. Hence the psychedelics. Like, if you guys really want a good idea of what I like leaned towards with my beliefs, watch this video. It's called The Egg. This video, in a way, planted a seed that like spirituality was even a realistic possibility. And even so, like I said before, I still didn't believe in an objective God being. I believed, like, at most, everybody was God in a way. So if that marks the beginning of me not being a true atheist, then fair enough, dude, but you can't say I was never a true atheist, because before that, I was. It was a gradual progress of, like, changing my beliefs through searching. I guess the only difference between you and me, if you're a true atheist, is I actually kept an open mind. And, like, it's just straight up cult talk. When you say I was never a true atheist, otherwise I would have stayed an atheist, that is exactly what I get from the Mormons, too. Every time I make a video on Mormonism, there's people in the comments saying, well, if you were a true Mormon, you would have stayed one, because I'm a true Mormon and I stayed one, and I've done my research and I'm still a Mormon. It's the same thing, dude. Like, do you guys hear yourselves when you say I was never a true atheist? It's cult mentality. And like, how do you define true atheist? Because it's a real simple concept. It's the lack of belief in God. You don't believe in God. It's that simple. There is no deeper meaning for atheism. But you guys act like it's this nuanced and intricate set of beliefs, like there's some kind of atheist organization or something, and because I wasn't a part of it, then I wasn't a true atheist. Like, is the criteria for someone to be able to call themselves an atheist, like, you gotta be part of the atheist subreddit and the atheist Discord server for X amount of years. You gotta pass the atheism initiation protocol by reading Richard Dawkins' God Delusion X amount of times. You gotta spend X amount of times arguing with theists in the YouTube comments section before you're a true atheist. Like, what does it mean, dude? Tell me, what does it mean? I can make the claim that an ex-Christian was never a true Christian because the Bible has scripture that addresses that. There are nuances to scripture. And there are philosophical concepts from scripture like bearing fruits and having a specific heart posture as being evidence that you're a true Christian. But atheism doesn't have that. There's no objective atheism beyond the simple definition of atheism according to Webster's dictionary: disbelief in or denial of the existence of God or gods. Last time I checked, there is no atheism Bible that defines what a true atheist is, unless you count r/atheism, right? And atheism in and of itself leads to a worldview that's just built around your personal opinion. There is no objective reality or objective truth. There is no objective meaning to being an atheist. So therefore, the definition of atheism, if you say it's deeper beyond the Webster's dictionary definition, then that is purely personal opinion, and you have no substance, nothing to back it up to say that it's anything more than that, because it's all just based on subjectivity. So when you say you weren't a true atheist, according to what? Where is this atheism handbook that I apparently wasn't given when I became an atheist? What you consider right or wrong is just your opinion. You're not appealing to an objective standard of morality. You're not appealing to a higher power. You're appealing to yourself and your own opinion of what right or wrong is. At best, you are appealing to what society deems as right or wrong, which is still completely subjective. It's like, when you accuse me of not being a true atheist, what does that even mean? Either you're insinuating that your version of atheism is more true than mine was, which again, just comes down to personal opinion, or you're insinuating that I was actually just Christian the entire time. I was undercover, and I was actually never atheist, and I just lied in all my videos, which there is literal video evidence that proves you wrong. That's not the case. If anything, the video evidence I have proves I was more of a true atheist than any of you were. Like, I was so zealous about my atheism that I moved beyond arguing with people on Reddit, and I preached atheism like your average Christian evangelist. I had a sign and everything. I went around dressed as Spider-Man, advertising my YouTube channel on a cardboard sign so that people could see these videos, which ultimately I believed were exposing the true meaning of life, that authenticity was the truth. Like, I went around dressed as Spider-Man to disprove religion, to tell people that God isn't real, and what's most important is that you are just true to yourself, and that's the meaning of life. And I literally became homeless for the sake of getting these videos out.
Yo guys, my stepdad called the cops on me because he really doesn't want me to expose this online, okay? I'm serious. I'm 100% serious. Guess who's homeless now? My own family just kicked me out for the first time I've ever been completely honest with them, and now I'm homeless. Literally, like, all my shit's here, dude.
Okay, my Mormon family did not like that I was preaching atheism, but I believed in atheism wholeheartedly. I thought it was the truth, to the point where I became homeless to get that message out, because I really believed I had it all figured out. The nihilism that naturally follows the belief of atheism. When you take atheism to its logical conclusion, it leads to nihilism. But I thought I finally figured out, like, the solution to that. The solution to not feeling like life was completely meaningless. And I became homeless to preach this message, okay? So if you want to say I was never a true atheist, all I gotta say is, get on my level, bro. I became homeless for atheism. But this new conclusion of authenticity that I reached was just cope, because the logical conclusion of atheism is that nothing matters in the end. So, like, the only way I could find myself happy within the atheistic worldview was by telling myself happy little lies to make myself cope, because the logical conclusion is depressing. So I appealed to my emotions. There's no logic in that. And as soon as I applied the same skepticism I had towards religion that I had to my current worldview, I realized it made no sense. A plus B equals C, like, it made no sense, dude. I was just appealing to emotion. So if you are a true atheist, guess what? You're a nihilist. At least be consistent with your worldview instead of lying to yourself, instead of appealing to your emotions. If you can find contentment in the meaninglessness of life under the atheist worldview, then congratulations, you, my friend, are an honest and true atheist. And I applaud you, because I was not as strong as you. I could not accept that my life had zero meaning. If you can be a consistent atheist under a true atheistic worldview, then honestly you have my respect. Because most atheists can't even define what true atheism is, and when you try to actually pinpoint what their worldview is, most of the time they'll just refuse to claim any specific worldview to avoid criticism. I've heard atheists say stuff like, well, my beliefs defy classification. That is so dishonest that you can't even claim the logical conclusion of your own atheistic worldview. Because if you did, you'd open yourself up to criticism. So bravo to anybody that actually follows atheism to its logical conclusion, accepts that worldview, and takes the criticism like a champ. Because that's what I also have to do as a Christian. I have to follow the Bible to its logical conclusion and accept all of it. As a Christian, I can't be picky-choosy to avoid criticism. If you can't own up to the logical implications of your worldview, and then you go around criticizing people of their worldview, holy hypocrisy, dude. Like, it's so dishonest to go around criticizing people of their worldview while refusing to claim one of your own, just to avoid being criticized back. Like, do you not see the hypocrisy in that mindset? Like, let me go criticize everybody of their worldview, but, you can't criticize mine because I don't have one. I've had to do a lot of research and a lot of thinking and a lot of speculation to come to my current theological framework, so that I could work through the logical implications of every single belief I have. Because if you follow a belief down the path, and then realize, oh, well, if I take it down here, then that makes zero sense, then it probably means something way back is also completely illogical and makes no sense. So you gotta reflect and reconsider your worldview. This is with Christianity, and this is also with atheism. This is with any worldview. If a belief becomes a stumbling block later down the line, when you follow it to its logical conclusion, it probably means something way back there was also illogical. So we rethink things and reconsider our beliefs. Let's take it back all the way to the origin of where that logical implication would stem from and reconsider. And voila, now I'm not an atheist. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Sorry if this got super serious and heated. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe. Remember, with great knowledge comes great accountability. Spider-Man can't save you, but Jesus can.